So today I'm going to be talking to you about lunar baby names. So baby names that have something to do with the moon. I thought that this was kind of an interesting topic to cover because of how close we're getting to Halloween. And a lot of people also just feel a very strong connection to the moon and lunar phases, and there's a lot of connections that exist between the moon and its phases and birth and pregnancy and motherhood and womanhood in general. So it's a really interesting topic from which to choose baby names. Now obviously the number one lunar baby name is Luna, but Luna has recently rocketed to popularity, mostly due to the inclusion of the name in the Harry Potter series with the character Luna Lovegood. It currently sits at number 37 in the US and number 78 in the UK. So it's quite a popular name and it's only gaining popularity. So parents who are looking for more unique names may struggle to find a name that has to do with the moon. So the first girl name I have for you today is Olara. Olara is an elegant name with a really rich mythological background to it. In ancient Greek mythology, Olara was the name of a lover of Zeus, and she bore a child who was the giant Tityus. So that's an interesting little backstory. But besides that, Olara is also the name of a moon of Jupiter. So yeah, despite its beauty and simplicity, Olara never ranked in the top 1,000 in the US, so it's a very unusual name. The next name that I have to share with you is a little bit more common, and that is Juliet. The name Juliet naturally brings to mind Romeo and Juliet, but besides that, it's also the name of the moon of Uranus. Juliet means youthful and sits at number 226 in the US as of 2017. I think this is the perfect name for parents who are looking for a literary name that also has a lunar significance to it. The next name that I have to share with you is Leto. I believe I've talked about this name in a previous video. It's a sweet and simple Greek name that means happy, and I think happy is such a beautiful name to give a baby, because really babies are happy, cheerful little creatures for the most part. In ancient Greek mythology, Leto was a beautiful mortal woman who was seduced by Zeus in the form of a swan. So again, a very interesting mythological meaning. And it is also the name of a moon of Jupiter. So you've got the lunar significance and the mythological significance. Actually, because most moons and planets are named after mythological characters, so they kind of go hand in hand there. Adding to its appeal, Leto can even be considered a vintage name because it did enjoy some popularity in the early 20th century, reaching its peak in 1904 at number 516 before falling back down into obscurity, and Leto has not ranked in the top 1,000 since 1920. The next name that I have to share with you is Rosalind. Rosalind is a Latin name meaning pretty rose, and it's also the name of an inner satellite of Uranus. As I've talked about many times, old-fashioned names are definitely back in style, and Rosalind, while not in the US top 1,000 currently, would make a trendy choice for a baby girl because it is an old-fashioned name. You could also use the nicknames Rose or Rosie, which I think are very current, and I love cute short nicknames that can be derived from more grandiose names. The next name that I have to share with you is Phoebe. Again, I believe I've talked about this name before. I think it's adorable. It's a Greek name meaning radiant or shining, and it's a satellite of Saturn. So the name Phoebe sits at a sweet spot of popularity currently. It ranks at number 319 in the US, which is not too popular, but also not entirely unheard of. The next name I have to share with you is actually a favorite of mine. I work in a daycare and a little girl has this name there and I think it's adorable, and that's Ophelia. Ophelia was a character in Shakespeare's Hamlet, but is also a moon of Uranus. Perhaps because of its phonetic similarity to the popular Amelia, the name Ophelia has experienced a very sudden surge in popularity, which I was kind of surprised at, because I remember when I first looked at the popularity of this name, it was not popular at all. It jumped from number 978 in 2015 to number 416 in 2017, which is a crazy, crazy jump to be making, especially since it was completely unpopular beforehand. The next name I have to share with you is a little bit more unusual, and that is Indu. Indu is a Hindi name meaning moon, and this name is short, it's simple, it's kind of punchy, which does fit into kind of the popular trends that we're seeing for modern baby names. It's also quite similar to Indy, which is a name that's gaining popularity for both girls and boys. So it could be the perfect name for those looking for something that's truly unique, but also definitely on trend. The next name I have to share with you is Callisto. Callisto is a Greek name meaning most beautiful. It is the name of a well-known moon of Jupiter, as well as an intriguing figure in Greek mythology. She was turned into a bear by the goddess Artemis for basically falling in love with Zeus, which I think is a very interesting, kind of bittersweet backstory. And I love this name because, again, it has beautiful, beautiful nicknames, Calla, Callie, and it ends in that spunky O sound, which is just adorable. Callisto has also never been in the top 1,000 in the US. The next name I have to share with you is Titania. Titania is the name of the largest of Uranus's moons. It's strong, it's feminine, and also mystical in other ways, as Titania was the name of the queen of the fairies in A Midsummer's Night's Dream, which I think is super cool. I love fairies, I love fairy-related names. In fact, I think I'm going to be making a separate video with like fairy names, because I love fairy, mystical, magical names, and there are a lot of really pretty ones. Titania has never ranked in the US top 1,000, making it a very unique choice. The next name that I have to share with you is Selene. Selene is a serene sounding Greek name with a beautiful meaning, moon. In ancient Greek mythology, Selene was the goddess of the moon, and this name re-entered the US top 1,000 in 2017, and it currently ranks at number 917, making it a trendy choice for modern parents. It's on the rise, it's not unheard of, but it's also not very common. In fact, I don't think I've ever met anyone named Selene, at least not yet. The next name I have to share with you is Neoma, and it kind of reminds me of Naomi phonetically, but it's a Greek name meaning new moon. So I think this name is obviously very lunar, very much a moon-related name, but it's also very significant for like a baby name, because babies are like this new beginning, a new start, a fresh start. So new moon is like a really symbolic meaning for a baby name to have. So I really like this name, and it does not rank in the top 1,000, obviously. The next name I have to share with you is also a very pretty sounding name, and that is Lucine. Lucine means moon in Armenian and is a common given name in Armenia. It's never ranked in the top 1,000 in the US, but it is very similar to a lot of popular baby names in the US, such as Lucy and Lucille. You can even use Lucy as a nickname if you were to name your baby Lucine. So because of its phonetic similarity to those names, I believe that it could make a very current and usable alternative to Luna. So those are all the names that I have to share with you today. As per usual, if you have any suggestions as to what my next video should be, you can leave them in the comments below. I am back for real and for good this time. I've finally figured out how to edit videos without using a computer, because if you didn't know, my precious MacBook Pro had a very sad water accident and is no longer working, which is why I've been absent for so long. But I'm now editing videos on my iPhone, which is not quite as easy or as convenient, but it's working. So I am back for good, and I look forward to hearing from all of you again. Bye.